and welcome to this cover letter workshop. In addition to cover letters, I will also be touching on references, but let's get started with the cover letter. First, I want to talk about the purposes of a cover letter. It's your introduction to an employer. It's you telling the employer who you are and how you can benefit them. It gives you a voice rather than just being a resume that they've looked at 100 resumes before. Many people don't do cover letters, and I think that people who do, it gives them a little bit of an edge. You can demonstrate your unique ability to add value to the organization. You can focus on the qualifications for the position. This is very important. If you looked at my resume workshop video, I talked about using the keywords in a job ad to personalize your resume to a particular position. And you definitely want to do that. But with a cover letter, you can go a little more in depth with the skills that you have that benefit the company. And if they're looking for specific skills, you can go a little more in depth and maybe give a little more examples of what you can do and how you can fill those qualities that they're looking for. It provides an example of your writing abilities, your communication skills. More and more, we live in a world that businesses revolve around email communication. So you have to be able to write well. You have to get your thoughts across in writing. And that's actually much harder to do than in face-to-face communication because you don't have body language, you don't have facial expressions, you don't have vocal inflections. So if you can communicate well with the written word, an employer is going to believe that you can communicate well in every other aspect as well. It conveys your interest in the position. It lets them know you want that position. A good cover letter should complement your resume, not just duplicate it. Never use a form cover letter. Just like you will customize your resume to a particular position, you will also customize your cover letter the same way. Cover letters have a more flexible format than resumes. It allows you to go a little more in depth with what you want to say about a particular skill or a particular achievement. This is another reason why cover letters should complement the resume and not duplicate it. If all you're going to do is duplicate your resume, you might as well not write the cover letter at all. You want to use block or modified block business letter format. If you don't know what that is, or it's been a while since you've written a block or modified block business letter, just Google it. Google block business letter format, which is generally what most people use, and there will be multiple entries that you will be able to figure out how you're supposed to set up a modified block letter. As I said in the previous workshop, the resume workshop, Google is my friend when it comes to a lot of things like this. As I told you that there were, I touched on how to email a resume in the resume cover letter workshop. I'm going to talk about mailing a cover letter and resume in a couple of different ways, either snail mail or email. Snail mail is, of course, the post office. You print it out, you put it in an envelope, and you mail it. If you do that, make sure that your printer is printing nice and clean, no major ink blotches, anything like that, and make sure you sign the letter. If you're printing out a lot of letters and you're in the zone and you're applying to a lot of different jobs, it's very easy to forget to sign the letter. But I'll tell you right now, most of the time anymore, you're going to be applying online or you're going to be applying um, at a website. You're either going to be emailing or you're going to be applying on a website. If you email, there's a couple of different ways to attach your cover letter. You can either write it in a Word document, save it as a PDF, just like you would the resume, and then you would attach it. Or you can use the body of your email as your cover letter, which is generally what I do. If you do that, make sure that all of your contact information is in a signature line in your email, the body of your email. Basically, all the information that's in your letterhead would be in a signature line on your email. Now, there's generally 3 paragraphs are standard for a cover letter. Now, this can change a little bit. You can go to 4 if you need to break things up a little bit, but a cover letter should never be more than a page. And actually, truly, a cover letter should only probably be about 3/4 of a page. But it should never be more than a full page. The first paragraph is your purpose of the letter, the anticipated position, where you heard about the position. You want to tell them what position it is. It's very important, because if they are advertising for more than one position, if you don't tell them what you're looking for, they're not going to know. And it's pretty simple. I was very excited to learn that ABC Company was advertising for a administrative assistant position on Indeed.com. Please accept my resume, or please accept my application for that position. However you want to word it. That's your first paragraph. Your second paragraph is basically the meat of the letter. It's how you tell them how your qualifications are relevant to what they're looking for. This is where you can get detailed about this is what they're looking for, and this is the skills, this is how you complement what they're looking for, or how you meet those skills. It also allows you to discuss skills and qualities that you can't see as easily on your resume. A lot of times this is soft skills, time management, interpersonal skills, things of that nature. You can still talk about technical skills in your cover letter, but your cover letter lets you expand on things that aren't as easily noticeable on the resume. And then your third paragraph is your closing paragraph. You mention the position again. Tell them that you think you would be an excellent fit for this position. You thank the employer for their time. This is very important. Thank the employer for their time. And then state the time and method of follow-up. If you know who you're writing to. If you are writing to a blind ad online or something of that nature, you won't know. You won't be able to follow up unless they have a specific email or a specific telephone number in the ad. Even if you know who you are writing to, be sure that you are comfortable with doing a follow-up. If you're not, leave that part off, because if you put it on there and you don't follow up, it looks like you lack follow-through. This paragraph could be something along the lines of, again, I'm very interested in the administrative assistant position. I think my skills and experience are a good fit. Thank you for your time and consideration, and I will follow up with you next Tuesday afternoon around 2:30 to make sure that you receive my resume and see if you have any other questions for me. Sincerely, and then your name. So that's a basic cover letter. If you need ideas on how to write them, maybe different ideas on what to write, go back to my friend Google, type in cover letters for whatever job you're applying for, and you will have tons of examples. That's actually why I'm not including an example in this workshop, because there is a type of cover letter for just about every position that's out there. But I think that if you follow this standard idea, you could come up with a really good cover letter. Now I want to talk about references. You always want to have at least 3 professional references. If it is possible, I'd have 5 or more. Most companies want at least 3, but some companies may want more. With the professional reference, you're going to want their name, their title, the company they work for, their telephone number, and their email address. Make sure you have the correct information. If the person has left the company and they're willing to give you their personal cell phone number and email address, use that, because you don't want an employer calling a company and that person's no longer there. Now you can use more. Most people think you can only use supervisors. You can use supervisors, you can use clients, you can use coworkers, you can use friends who used to be coworkers. Anyone who knows you in a professional capacity, that's who you would want to use as a professional reference. There are times where using clients and coworkers may actually benefit you a little bit better, because a supervisor, particularly if they are still at that company, may be limited on what they can say due to legal concerns. So you want to make sure that you have their information. With personal references, it's name, address, telephone number, email address. I'd have at least 3 of those, because some companies do want personal references as well. Be sure anytime you give out references, if you go to a job interview or if you are applying online and they ask for references, make sure you let people know. Now, if you're in the middle of a job search, just let them know, hey, I'm putting out resumes. If they ask for references, is it okay if I use you? Once they get that blanket, every now and then, if your job search is taking a while, kind of nudge them and let them know you're still using them. But for the most part, if you give them that blanket, hey, somebody may be calling, I would still let them know if you do go to an interview and they specifically ask for your references. I would, as soon as I got out of the interview, I would let the people know, hey, heads up, they asked for my references, they may be calling. Because some people, if they don't recognize telephone number on their cell phone, they just won't pick up. And a potential employer may not always call them again. So let them know you're using them as a reference. Thank them for allowing you to use them as a reference. Be polite, because good professional references are hard to come by. So you want to take care of them. Another person you can use as a professional reference is if you're in school or you were recently in school. You can use instructors. But don't use just instructors, because a potential employer may go, they've worked for how many years, and the only people they can get to vouch for them are instructors that they were in school with. But you can use an instructor if you want. And this is what basically a reference sheet would look like. It's not anything major. It's their name, their title, the company, the address. By the way, if you don't know their street address, that's not a deal breaker. In fact, I think on the listings before, I don't think I even had street address. I may have, I'm not sure. But if you don't have the address, that's fine. As long as you have their telephone number and their email address. That's the main things. If you have the street address, that's great. If you don't, not a big deal, as long as you have their contact information. That's the end of the cover letter and references workshop. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment in below this video. Let me know if there's things maybe you're not clear on. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. I also have a resume workshop that will be uploaded on my YouTube channel as well. And I also have an online job search video and a LinkedIn video. Please feel free to watch those as well. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments. Thank you and have a good one.